Look at any major global red carpet today, and you'll see a familiar rhythm. The flashbulbs erupt, and a specific kind of untouchable celebrity arrives. Today, she is a fixture at the Met Gala, the face of international luxury fashion houses, and a decorated actor with a shelf full of top-tier industry awards. But rewind to 2012, and the picture looks completely different. Following a polished debut in Student of the Year, a single television interview gone wrong turned her into a punchline, a national meme overnight. From that moment, Alia Bhatt was stamped with the Indian film industry's heaviest label, the primary target for growing public frustration with unearned nepotism. In an industry increasingly hostile to dynasty, a debut built on privilege and followed by public mockery usually signals a short career. Recovering from that level of reputational deficit is statistically rare. The criticism was grounded in hard facts. She is the daughter of veteran director Mahesh Bhatt, a connection that granted her instant access to rooms most actors spend decades trying to enter. That lineage ensured her career was launched and personally mentored by one of Bollywood's most powerful studio heads, Karan Johar. She possessed a level of institutional access that bypassed we industry's standard filters, yet the audience held the ultimate veto power. Viewers bought the theater tickets, but they withheld their respect. This creates a unique psychological trap. How do you establish individual merit when your entire entry point was pre-arranged and pre-funded by the most powerful studios in the country? Public relations campaigns cannot rewrite public memory. To survive, she realized the only effective response had to happen on screen, through the one thing privilege cannot feign: technical skill. She dropped the glamour. She stepped away from the perfectly lit studio sets and placed herself in harsh, unglamorous environments. Her performance in Highway required a level of raw, physical vulnerability that caught her harshest critics off guard. It forced the industry to look past her name and at her actual acting ability. That critical pivot anchored a decade of steady box office dominance. Films like Razi and Gangurdai Kathiawadi were massive commercial successes, carried almost entirely by her individual performance. Year after year, the sheer volume of her work began to erode the narrative that she was merely a manufactured product of the studio system. Yet, the machinery of Bollywood politics meant the skepticism never fully evaporated. Persistent rumors of behind-the-scenes lobbying and casting advantages continued to haunt her rise. She operates under a relentless media audit by a public that is increasingly hyper-aware of how the industry elite protect their own interests. Even during her most successful years, the shadow of her origins and internet controversy trailed her every move. This leaves her in a perpetual trial. When you start with every advantage, the public demands consistency. Privilege means she is rarely granted the luxury of a quiet failure. To counter this intense scrutiny, she shifted her public persona, focusing on transparency over untouchable celebrity status. Her personal life reached peak elite status when she married into the Kapoor family, further aligning herself with a powerful cinematic dynasty. But against that backdrop of industry royalty, she spoke openly about her vulnerabilities. She detailed her struggles with severe anxiety and an ADHD diagnosis. She also shared the raw realities of motherhood, pushing back against the expectation that a celebrity's life is effortless or without struggle. By showcasing her flaws, she made her brand recognizable. The privilege remained a fact, but it became secondary to a more human, hard-working reality. Today, her footprint extends far beyond the domestic market. She has expanded into the West, marking her Hollywood debut and crossing into a new tier of global visibility. She has evolved into a global luxury fashion muse, commanding the attention of international brands that look for reach across multiple continents. This diagram illustrates the diversification of her holdings. Across production, fashion, and venture investments, her current corporate empire is valued at over 550 crore rupees. Her influence now operates independently of the domestic industry's standard filters. She has outgrown the structure that initially launched her. So, did industry privilege build the Alia Bhatt empire? There is no denying the math. Privilege absolutely opened the doors, funded her debut, and provided a safety net most actors never see. But an inherited name only gets you the first meeting. Privilege cannot memorize lines, it cannot fake screen presence, and it cannot buy a solid decade of box office dominance. She took the institutional advantage she was given and survived by making herself undeniably skilled. History will note the nepotism that started her career, but it will also record her evolution from a pre-selected debutante into an autonomous, global industry force.